Patrick McNeil back here with you at the intermission and joined now by the head coach of the Riverview Redmen hockey team ahead of Red Cup, Jimmy Smith. Before we touch on Red Cup, we'll talk a little bit about the regular season. Jimmy, your club is atop the league again. I know there's a good enrollment at Riverview.
What do you think is the key to this team being seemingly good every year?
Pat, we got 6 guys returning from last year's squad, 6 veteran guys that are leading by example for the rookie kids. And we got a real good, solid coaching staff in Jordan Moss, Stevie Jamil, and Danny Keogh. Young fellas that come up through the system and around here that are really teaching the young guys what high school is all about.
Well, I know Jordan used to play for the Redmen too, so that's a nice little tie-in. We're going to talk about your tournament in a second, but also Sydney Academy comes back to the league, and they host a tournament, which your team won. Tell us about winning that tournament and how good was it to have that event back in the calendar?
It was great, Pat. They did a very good job of getting that tournament up and running. Their team is a much improved, probably the most improved team in the league. They picked up some real good players. Sheldon and company have done a real good job with the tournament and the team, and I think they'll be heard from before this is done.
You talked about your team having a strong veteran presence. For those who haven't seen Riverview play this year, who are some of the key players to watch?
Our goaltender is our strong point. We got a real strong goalies there. We had Mike McMullen returning, Josh Ludi, draftee from the Eagles organization, come back to high school to play for us, so he's been a complimentary guy, real good leadership. We got some good returnees on the back end, Josh McCaskill, Trevor Jennings. We got a nice pickup, Bryce McKenzie. We got Nathaniel Fuller up front from the major midget program. So we got some scoring and we got some balance up there.
Yeah, you and I were talking before we hit record about guys jumping back and forth, I guess, between major and midget. How is that transition when a player comes down? Do those players usually dominate? Is that a given or maybe not?
No, not necessarily. Well, they're good players anyway because they've got some good training. But when we get into tournaments, there's all kinds of them kids called overagers. They played their 3 years of major, and their 4th year is their grade 12 year. For example, CP Allen last year had 12 of them. It's pretty tough to dominate the Division I schools up the line. Pretty tough.
Yeah, for sure. Cape Breton, I guess with numbers being down a bit, it hurts. But we've seen the schools put in some good efforts at some tournaments, which has been good to see. Red Cup has been in the news a lot this year with the format changing and whatnot. Has the chatter about the tournament in the community been a distraction to the players? Do they talk about that much, or have you been able to keep them focused on their games?
That's an administration thing, Pat. We kind of steered away from it. It's not our department, and we just focused on hockey and development. And this is going to be our 5th tournament, so we're starting to find our way. We see where the competition is, and we see what we got to do to compete. No, it hasn't been a distraction. We've kind of stayed away from it.
I know you're not at the school, but if you got the impression the enthusiasm is still there for the tournament, I see the social media is being pumped up. Are people really excited for this to get going?
The boys are all ready to go. I'm just getting over a few injuries and stuff, but we should be all ready to go for next Wednesday. Hopefully the kids will support us. I'm pretty sure they will.
Now, I know the 4 local teams are there. Tell us about the teams coming from away for the event.
Northumberland are our team that's coming down. Annikanish, J.H. Gillis, Dalbreak, and our 4 locals. J.H. Gillis, we've seen them over in the Panther Classic. They're a good team. Generally, any team that comes out of Annikanish is usually a pretty good team. The Northumberland team now, I'm not sure of, but I know they are hosting, so they should be okay. We'll find out when we see them next week.
Now, where the tournament gets pushed ahead a day, obviously kids have to travel for the event. Was there any logistical issues that you're aware of getting teams to maybe miss that extra school day, or was that not a problem to get those teams to come in?
That part, Pat, I'm really not sure of. That's not our department. We'll be ready to go for Wednesday evening. We'll see Memorial, and that's pretty well where our focus is going.
There you go. You're worried about what's on the ice. 7 teams in the tournament. Walk us through how the format works. I think Memorial had a similar situation at their tournament this year.
We are going to play an extra game. And I believe the numbers of them 4 games go into a hat, and one of them gets pulled out and it gets deleted. So the 3 games that remain will determine where we finish in the round robin.
All 4 of those games you play count for the teams you're playing against, though.
Yes, they'll play 3, we'll play 4.
Okay, very good.
For the benefit of the tournament.
The fair way to do it.
Glace Bay's done it this year.
Sometimes we'll see that teams have to cancel for whatever reason, so you're working around it. Walk us through exactly how the schedule works. So we have 4 teams in one group, 3 teams in another group. When does it all get started?
It started Wednesday evening. The local teams play. We play Memorial at 5 o'clock, I believe, on Wednesday, and then Glace Bay plays Sydney Academy after us. Same format as the week progresses.
Lastly, I guess you're in the same division as Memorial. Who plays alongside you in Memorial?
Memorial, ourselves, Sydney Academy, and Dalbreak.
Now that you've been there a couple of years, just tell us about how special the atmosphere is. For whatever reason, all the teams have their tournaments, but Red Cup seems to capture the imagination. Just tell us about the emotion that goes in when Riverview hits the ice for the event.
That's a tough one to explain. I'll tell you, I've been in the game for decades, and I'll tell you, it's the most exciting. Last year's tournament was the most exciting hockey I've ever been involved in. I've played it. I've been around all different types of hockey. That was just electric. It was awesome last year. Of course, winning helps, but yeah, it was great. Just read a little Twitter thing the other day. One of the Puma kids, who were our main rival team that we beat last year there, Auburn, one of the tweets was that his most exciting moment in his hockey career so far was at the Red Cup. It's just tremendous excitement. The support the school gives the team is just unreal.
Well, we'll see how it plays out this year, and I think everybody will be happy to see the action on the ice. Thanks for telling us about it, Jimmy. Great insight on everything regarding the Riverview program.
All right, Pat. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time.
That's Jimmy Smith. He's the head coach of the Riverview Redmen. As we talk, he's getting ready for a couple of regular season games, but of course, Red Cup starts on Wednesday. You're listening to the intermission of Carstar, K. Breton Eagles Hockey, 1270 CJCB.